Daniela Zanetta, a young focolarina, was born on December 15, 1962, in Maggiora, in the province of Novara. She had lived till the early age of 23, after an entire existence marked by suffering and illness, bore witness to her love for God and for life right up to the end. Daniela was suffering from dystrophic epidermolysis bullosa, a hereditary malformation of the epidermis that caused blisters and skin tears all over her body. There was no chance of recovering from the disease. For her, the only option was to undergo 3 hours of delicate and painful medications every day. This amazing testimony will demonstrate to society today the power of faith and the beauty of the gift of life of every creature. Despite the sufferings Daniela Zanetta had to deal with, she was helped and spurred on by the love of her parents and loved life and its beauties. She received excellent results at school and managed to obtain a master's degree. Daniela never used the disease as a shield. In elementary school, she played with her classmates and refused any kind of facilitation. Due to Daniela's constant suffering, she was able to empathize with others going through pain as well, particularly to the sick children she met in hospitals where she would spend long periods of her short life. She also suffered from anemia, which forced her to sudden hospitalizations and blood transfusions. In 1973, she met and adhered to the spirituality of the focolare movement founded by Chiara Lubick, an encounter that strengthened her on her journey. Daniela heard these words of the gospel, "Where 2 or 3 are united in my name, there I am in their midst," MT 1820. In fact, her last intervention forced her to stay at home where she could devote herself entirely to God and to prayer. She wrote these words, "You, Father, have entrusted me with this task, this cross, a seal imprinted in my flesh from my first cry, as if you wanted to be sure not to get lost. I have not always appreciated your attention towards me. How many times have I wanted to mix with the crowd, to be one among many, but you, vigilant, called me back to you, jealous, you wanted me. I didn't understand your love, because for me it meant pain, for me it was hours of medication, so many renunciations, so much bitterness, I didn't understand, I didn't want to. Then through tears I said yes. I received you for the first time in my heart, I spoke to you, no, it was you who spoke, and from that moment I offered you my sick, wounded, disfigured body. Now I am yours, and despite the falls, the skids, I will no longer mix with the crowd, but I will remain firm in the center of your love." Despite the sufferings, Daniela was still able to participate in the events of the world, however, became very saddened when she learned of wars and attacks on human life. Because of this, she did not hesitate to take pen and paper in November 1984. Daniela wrote a heartfelt letter, published in Famiglia Cristiana, in response to a pro-euthanasia medical conference, bearing witness by her own example to the sacred value of human life, to be defended at all costs. In the letter she wrote as follows, "I have just finished reading Le Typhos della Bella Morte, published in Famiglia Cristiana. As I read, my skin crawled with indignation and disgust, but most of all I felt pity for those poor people who advocated euthanasia. I was deeply amazed to read that the conference was mainly attended by elderly women, who have experienced the beauty of life and now want to get rid of it as if it were something too much. I would like to shout to everyone that the life of every creature is sacred and beautiful. I am a 22-year-old girl, born handicapped. I have a skin disease, which gives me sores all over my body. I have lost my hair, my fingernails and toenails, my fingers are clenched, I had to have all my teeth pulled, and 6 months I undergo peritoneal dialysis 4 times a day. After this description, I may look like a monster, but I'm not, or at least I don't feel like one. It's not easy to spend 22 years on the cross, but I believe in God, I love Him intensely, and I thank Him for giving me life, because every day He gives me is one more occasion for me to love and serve Him. I wanted to make my experience known so that those luminaries who support euthanasia understand that they have no right to the lives of others. Every life that blossoms is a divine gift, and, if this life is marked in a particular way by pain, it represents a double gift, because suffering matures us, allows us to have a profound dialogue with God, helps us to expiate many sins, and stop the nonsense fools. Beginning on October 26, 1983, Daniela had begun to keep a diary in which she wrote a letter to Jesus every day to confide in him through her painful journey towards holiness. Her conditions began to worsen in February 1986. She was born into heaven on April 13, 1986. After receiving the Eucharist, before entering a coma, she pronounced these last words with the last breath of her voice: "Thank you, thanks for everything."